Hello and welcome to the University of Law. As you can see in today's video, I am going to be reviewing Doctor Who, The Stuff of Legend. So just as a sort of recap, I went to see The Stuff of Legend. Well, I listened to the audio when it was released on Saturday morning. Actually, do you know, I should have known by looking at it. I thought it was an hour long. It was a 2-disc, so it was about an hour and 40. Or longer, I can't remember now, but it was that was a nice surprise because I thought it was going to be about an hour or 70 minutes. I thought it was a 1-disc release. It's a 2-disc release, so I really enjoyed that. And then, of course, that evening I booked to see The Stuff of Legend live at Cadogan Hall in London at 7:30. So just to sort of go through, first of all, when I heard this released, I saw that they had the Master and the Daleks and the Eighth Doctor and Charlie, it kind of felt a little bit like a shopping list, and I was a bit concerned about how it felt like it was going to be a sort of mediocre Dalek and Master story, in the sense that you take two great things together, but by being together you kind of halve how good it can be because they were limiting them. And I said, it couldn't have been further from the truth. I was blown away with how much I enjoyed it, actually. I thought it was kind of a nice little thing that had been put together for the live show, but no, it was a really good story. And I shouldn't have doubted Big Finish, the writers, the actors, everyone involved. So yeah, let's talk about the story first, because I did the audio first so that I had the story right in my head, so I could appreciate the live performance for what it was. And I'm glad I did, because I really enjoyed the story. Spoilers, I've saved this review for today, in case people wanted to wait until they'd seen it yesterday evening. So it's coming out now, I'm recording it now. What I did find was it really is a kind of a sequel to Remembrance of the Daleks. Obviously, this is the Eighth Doctor is the next Doctor along from the Seventh Doctor. It's set in November 63. I think it's set in 23rd of November, because it's the day after Kennedy was assassinated, which I'm sure is the day that Remembrance of the Daleks is set. And they did talk about how Skaro has been destroyed, so I think this is literally the aftermath of that, and the Daleks are now preparing to get their revenge on the Time Lords, and they begin, and basically the whole plot is they're trying to find a way to get back at Gallifrey and do to Gallifrey what the Time Lords did to Skaro, which is basically then bridging the gap from Remembrance of the Daleks rather explicitly into the Time War, which is fantastic. Which, again, Big Finish, as I said many times, Big Finish does that great job of when you've got a development of a character or story, it's adding in those extra blocks where you kind of just need them, especially with Doctor Who, which had periods on and off screen, and there have been periods where perhaps the backstory hasn't been filled in, and we've been given the steps we didn't have before on the road. On that note, I think this is definitely set after Time of the Daleks and just before Neverland, because Charlie Pollard she knows who the Daleks are, and there's no memory wipe, so it's set after her first encounter. So I think chronologically then it's set there, unless it's set right after Absolution and before the girl who, I've forgotten the name of it now, but her last, the girl who never was, her last story, unless it's set then, but I got the impression it was still earlier on. So yeah, no, I really enjoyed the story, and obviously the mask got thrown in really well, and it's nice because he's the Master who fought in the or he was resurrected for the Time War, so it brings all these things nicely together. So they're my thoughts on the story. Now, the live show. First of all, Paul McGann, he's done the TV movie on screen, he's done Night of the Doctor on screen, and he's done Night of the Doctor and the Centenary special, The Power of the Doctor. And if you count it all up, as he says in this booklet, it comes to just under 2 hours. I've worked about an hour and 55. He was probably on stage for as long as his character is on screen in all these different media. In fact, considering the TV movie, he doesn't come in until the final hour of the hour and a half. It's even less screen time. So I saw that they were filming it. I hope they released a video, because he basically would double his screen time as the Doctor. I think just seeing Paul McGann's performance live on stage, you realise how much we missed out on by there never being a follow-up series. If any Doctor is crying out for their own spin-off in the Whoniverse, it's Paul McGann's Eighth Doctor. He's always been my favourite, and just seeing him in person, he takes the best elements of the old and the new. He kind of has that old-fashioned eccentric quality of the 20th century Doctors, but that energetic quality of the 21st century Doctors. He just has that perfect mesh of the two, the perfect fusion, because I love all iterations of Doctor Who, but he seems to personify all that's great about Doctor Who. And the chemistry with India Fisher was fantastic. Her performance, as always, was faultless. The guest cast were amazing. Great to see Nick Briggs doing his Dalek effects live, and you could see on the I was looking at the cast, and you could see between the cast and crew, you could see on their faces how much they were appreciating, because they worked so hard on these audios, and we listened to them on our headphones, and they were getting to see all of us enjoying all their hard work, and you could see how much it meant to them. Actually, I'd love to have seen their perspective, to have seen, was it 2,000 people or 1,000 people in the audience, and to see their appreciation back. And I think it's this wonderful symbiotic thing with Big Finish, where they love the stories that they're making, and so do we, and there's that love of, for the love of stories that we all have, and that was really, really obvious there. So again, I hope they do more of them. I know for the 25th anniversary, I hope they do more, because it really was excellent. I hope they filmed it and put it on a Blu-ray. That'd be absolutely fantastic. But there were some great things. If you were there, you got to add some Robomen sound effects for the live recording. So I hope we get to hear that at some point, and we'll all be given a canon performance in Doctor Who. There was some great stuff from Barnaby Edwards, who so the guest cast, I think I mentioned, were brilliant. Barnaby Edwards played two amazing roles, and as always, you kind of saw how amazingly he just plays them. I hadn't even realised it was him playing those two roles on the audio, on the headphones. He just immerses himself. He's absolutely fantastic. He was directing it. He was a great host of the evening, really talked us through, bigged it up, got everyone excited, talked through the recording process, how it all works. It really immersive from that side. There's an immersive story, plus there was that immersion there in terms of that behind-the-scenes look. There were some great. I think there were definitely moments, which maybe I'm wrong. There felt like there were some things that were in the studio, in the live performance, that weren't in the audio. In terms of things that probably wouldn't have worked on audio. There were some gags like Barnaby Edwards talks about, because Charlie gets inside a Dalek and he says, "You wouldn't catch me in there," and of course Barnaby Edwards has been in every Dalek since 1993. So that was a nice little joke, which I'm not sure whether it was on the CD. If it had been, I wouldn't have got the relevance of it, but obviously you get it when you're seeing him saying it in real life. There's some really good gags. It felt like a few things. I know that there was a couple of things about mobile phones that were in the audio which I kind of picked up on, about switching them off. But it felt like there was more of those gags. Maybe I just hadn't noticed them on the audio, but I noticed them more in the live performance. What was also interesting, and I absolutely loved the audio format. But there were certain moments that actually made a bit more sense watching it happen physically. For example, the main one really was, I had wondered, and again there's spoilers in this, I'd wondered how on earth, because the Master is, as the Master does, is pretending to be someone else. But it didn't make sense how his butler wouldn't have recognised that his face had changed. Unless he'd taken that form, which wasn't likely, because the Time Lords resurrected this Master. And maybe I just didn't pick up on it in the audio, but I picked up on it more because of the visuals. But the Master was wearing a sort of disguise on his face, a mask, which he pulled off. And while Alex McQueen wasn't wearing a mask, and again, it was great to see him for the first time ever in live action as the Master. He actually physically took the mask. He pretended to take a mask off, and it made it obvious what was happening. So that sometimes it does show how important visual cues are sometimes. And that brings me to the highlight of the whole production. And it was the cliffhanger to episode 1, which it was so beautifully acted, and he did such a good job that the whole thing hinged on Alex McQueen and the way he pulled that off, quite literally, in terms of the mask. And he just knew how to play it, because he knew he was in a room full of fans, and he played it with the, kind of the tongue-in-cheek Anthony, reference to Anthony Ainley. I am the Master taking the mask. He did it beautifully, and the reaction from the audience and the music, the cliffhanger music, it was one of the greatest moments of Doctor Who I've ever had. The whole experience. It was just being with room full of fans, and the whole experience was fantastic. Just a few little shout outs I did love. There was a TARDIS there was a TARDIS interior, there was a Dalek on stage. They really put the effort in. Bearing in mind it was an audio recording, they put a lot of effort in, just little touches that really made a great deal. And also there's this great program you could get. There was a poster as well, but this was really fun. And yeah, it just kind of goes through interviews with Paul McGann, with India Fisher, Alex McQueen. There's some great artwork here of the Daleks. We've got profiles of all the cast going through, and it really was a wonderful experience. Yeah, so did you go and see it? Or have you just listened to the audio drama? Either way, let me know what your thoughts were of this incredible experience. Do you want to see more of them? Do let me know. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe. I look forward to speaking to you soon.